Hey, bestie, and welcome back to Crafters Roundtable, the podcast where I get to sit down with individuals in the quilting, sewing, and crafting space and learn more about their insights and experiences in this wonderful world of crafting that we live in. Today's guest is such a good friend of mine. We go way back. She is the founder of Coffey Quilt Lab. She is a Janome educator and an award winning quilter. You're going to love today's episode. But before we get started, please make sure you are subscribed to the podcast wherever you are listening or watching so you can stay up to date with everything going on here at the table. So, without further ado, grab a chair and join Miriam and I at the table as we get chatting. Hey,
Hi,
how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. It is so good to see you.
It's so good to see you. It's been like way too long.
It has been way too long. To give everyone a little bit of context, Miriam and I go back to 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2017 PIQF.
Yep.
A lot of memories were made at that show. Happened at that time, and we got together. We hit it off. We had a great time. My most memorable event, a positive memorable one, because there was a negative one.
Yeah.
The most positive one was our time at Buca de Beppo. Do you remember
Yes.
that dinner? Oh my gosh,
And
girl.
your watch went off because you were exercising because we were
It was the
laughing and
best.
clapping,
We were
having
having
such a
a
good time.
great time. And yeah, and the watch went off and said, "You've
Yep.
completed your
Yep.
exercise ring." Oh, such a good time, such a good time. And then I think it was the next day or what's the day after that is when like my knee gave out and like bust and then I had to go to the emergency room. Child, that was
Yeah. Oh
that I'm
gosh.
telling you, that show was a production. Let's
It
just
was
go
an
with
event.
that. It was something. But I am so excited that we got to see each other at QuiltCon
Yep.
this past
Me
year.
too.
And we're able to link up and I could get you on the podcast. So thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's
This
a pleasure.
this is gonna be good. Okay.
Yeah.
So whenever I got started looking into some of the questions that I wanted to ask you, I do a deep dive
I know I
into
noticed.
people's to people in their lives. And I want you to talk about some of your early experiences with textiles.
Mhm.
You pursued a degree in fiber art at Maryland Institute College of Art. So can I talk to us like how that all started and it kind of took you into your experiences that you are now with quilting?
Yeah, so it started actually when I was really young. So my very first love in textiles was actually satin. I used to carry my mom's nightgowns around, like her satin nightgowns. And after I did that for a little bit, my grandmother and my mom decided that wasn't really appropriate.
Okay.
Um, so to like be carrying her like negligees around in public, which I totally get. So my grandmother wasn't a quilter or anything, but she did sew a tiny bit. Like she had a machine. So she ended up just buying me a yard of satin fabric and hemmed it. And I used to carry that around. So then that was my like new, I guess, like sort of security blanket.
Mhm.
Basically, I just loved touching it. And I called that my Baba. And then when I got too old for that, she made me satin pillowcases. So I've been sleeping with satin pillowcases since I was like 8. Like way before they were popular, like
Right.
way before they were like the thing to do.
Such a trendsetter you are.
I
You started
know.
this for all of us.
Like I still have some that are like from that age, like when I was really, really young. I mean, they're torn to pieces. I have a hard time letting go of like sentimental things, but
Same.
like yeah, so I still have some of those like worn, torn like satin pillowcases from like when I was a child.
Yeah.
So satin was really like my gateway like drug, you could say, into the
Okay.
textile world.
Okay.
And when I went to college, I guess my second was knitting. My grandmother was a knitter, so she taught me to knit in high school. And I got really into knitting. And then actually in college, I ended up doing machine knitting. And that's actually what when I went into fashion, I did machine knitting was what my specialty was. So basically, kind of back to the question, I actually originally, like when I went into college, I was planning on being a sculptor major. Like I wasn't planning on doing textiles. But then I ended up taking an intro to fiber class and just fell head over heels for it. And there was like no turning back. Um, and then we kind of, how I got into quilting itself was we were big gifters in my family. Like we love making gifts for people.
Hmm.
And I think one of my cousins was getting married and we're like, let's make them a quilt. Like none of us sewed really. Like,
Let's just dive into
we're
it. We're
just
just gonna
gonna do
create a
it.
whole thing, and we're gonna
Yeah.
do it.
Like, and so like we taught ourselves kind of to quilt for this wedding gift. And then it kind of just snowballed into like making baby quilts and just eventually taking classes and like going to quilt shows and buying fabric. And it kind of just became this whole thing. But yeah, so like it was between the satin and the knitting and eventually quilting is kind of what got me into fibers. And then it was just,
It kind of
it was
just took off from
it
there.
just yeah, it just totally took off from there. Yeah.
So, so then tell me, from the satin pillowcases
Mhm.
that you were the trendsetter. We're
Yes,
coining that
the
on the
OG.
podcast. You were the
Yeah.
OG of that. So from that to the knitting and to the starting your first quilt for gift giving, how
Mhm.
did that transition from that kind of that fiber more fiber focused world into actually running and managing a quilt store? And then I know you no longer do long arm quilting for the
Mhm.
public, but you did. Like, how did that
Yeah.
all come about, and kind of what was that kind of transition like for you?
Oh, there's so much stuff that happened in between.
Well, tell us all the tea. That's what we're
All the
here
tea.
for. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, so, like, in college, I got really into fashion, and had 2 theses. I had a installation, um, installation piece, and then I had, like, a 12-piece collection, that was all knitwear. My installation was also knitwear as well. So it was all done on the machine knitting. Like, I even knit tights, like, it was very intense.
Wow.
Yeah, like, I got this special like yarn that was very elastic and I made these like leggings and tights. And they had like some of them had holes down the back, like kind of like a seam, but instead of the seam, they had like holes in the hole with a seam. Like it was pretty cool.
Okay, Miss Girl, the
I
original
know.
Lululemon.
I
I mean,
know.
you're the OG of all the things. Okay, continue.
But I haven't gotten famous or like infamous or like super rich on any of them. So like that I need to just find the next thing and then just get rich off of it.
Fair.
But yeah, so then got into the fashion and then eventually left the fashion world and I worked for Anthropology for a little bit and like did some of their display and merchandising and stuff. And then also just regular like checking people out or whatever and styling for people. And then I eventually, there was a modern quilt shop that started opening up and I heard about it and applied to be the manager and helped her open the store. And then after that went under, I moved to North Carolina. All this was originally in St. Louis.
Okay.
Um, after college, I moved back to St. Louis because of some family issues
Mhm.
that I had to take care of some family members. And so then I did the fashion while I was in St. Louis, and then also traveled and went to different like fashion weeks across the country, like in Kansas City and Baltimore and St. Louis and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, then I moved to North Carolina and became a sales rep for a couple fabric companies. And then after that went to Janome and I've been with them for like 10 years.
Oh, my girl, you're killing it. That takes me that actually takes me into my next question, because when you and I met, you were, I mean, you still are, of course, but I met you as the Janome educator for this booth that we were working together, and I really want to know, kind of, because we didn't really get a chance to talk about. I don't think we've ever had really a chance to talk about
Mhm.
it. Like, how did you get involved with Janome, and what has like your role as one of their like amazing educators, because for everyone listening, she is an amazing educator. Look her up online. Miriam is fantastic at what she does. But I want to know, like, what does that whole educator role entail? Kind of what's the whole process like?
Yeah, so I got into it because originally, well, so at the time, I was I was a sales rep for a couple fabric companies,
Yeah.
and was traveling for that. And then at the time, the Modern Quilt Guild was doing these like regional, like little pop-up events, and they were doing one in Nashville, and there was gonna like Anna Maria Horner was there, and a bunch of different famous modern quilters, and they were taking and like the general public could, it was like for a weekend, it was like 4 days or something like that,
Okay.
or maybe 3 or 4 days. And Janome, there was a Janome dealer who was sponsoring the event, and I was kind of looking for a new machine at the time. And the sewing group that I belong to, the Shady Ladies, which is shout out to them.
That is so perfect.
Aren't they? They're the greatest group of women ever. They're in Waynesville, North Carolina. We're not a guild. It's just a group, and they meet every Tuesday to sew from like 9 until 3.
Love it.
And we have a quilt show every year, and they're just an amazing group of women. We have a retreat, and I'm an honorary member now because I don't live in Waynesville anymore, so I
Right.
just go to their retreat and that sort of stuff. So they all are like, so many of them are Janome people, like, and so they were like, they were all had the 6700, and they're like, you need to look at Janome. And I was like, are you sure? Like, I wasn't like, at the time, I kind of thought they were only like at like mass produced
Yeah.
machines. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't realize they were a great brand.
Right.
And so I went to this event, and they had the 8900 and the 3160s in the machines, or in the rooms. And I kind of fell in love with them. And so I ended up buying a 3160 and an 8900, like they had a special deal for it. And then I met with one of the educators, Danielle Wilkes, and I kind of connected with her and told her what I did, and kind of like a little bit of my history, and was like, hey, are you guys hiring? Do you think I would be a good fit? Like, if so, like, could I get a contact or something?
Right.
And so she was like, yeah, I think you'd be a great fit. Let me give you my boss's information. And so it ended up being a much longer process, like, than I was expecting.
As it always is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it took like 6 months for me to eventually get hired. Like, I think things were just really busy at the office, and like, whatever.
Right.
And I am also not super pushy, so I probably could have like been a little more pushy or whatever. But so I got the job basically from going to an event and talking up one of the educators. Like,
I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
yeah, and I was like, hey, I want to do what you do. Like,
Let's make it work. And then she was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
period. So what's like a typical day in the life of a Janome educator?
Well, it depends on the day.
Okay.
So we do a lot of different things, and we each kind of do different stuff. But like for me personally, I'm either on the road or I'm working from home in my studio. This is my studio. And so when I'm at home, I'm doing like samples, or I'm doing videos for YouTube or Facebook. And then I'll, make samples for advertisement, or for, whatever they need.
Right.
So I'll do that. And then when I'm on the road, I will either be teaching at a dealer store or an event, or I'll be like a convention, like at a quilt show or something like that. I'll either be working in the booth or in the classroom, helping people, making sure they're having a good time, rethreading their machines, kind of like babysitting the machines and just making sure everyone's having a good time.
Right.
So it's kind of like, it's a little bit of everything. And then also just any other thing that they need me to do. Like,
Fair.
yeah. So
Anything that kind of comes, you do all things as the educator.
yeah. I'm kind of there are a lot of the other educators that specialize on like one thing, like Anne Hine, she does software, and that's kind of like her main thing. I am one of the few that does everything. Like,
Okay.
I long arm, I machine quilt, I piece, I do improv, I do more traditional quilts, I do garment sewing, I can do upholstery, I can do all kinds of stuff. Like, I haven't like focused on any one particular thing. It was just kind of why, like, I've done fashion, I've done managing, I've,
Right.
I've been a sales rep. I'm now in education. I've kind of done like a little bit of everything, and they've all helped me like in my current job.
Right.
And so they've all kind of like come together, and it's allowed me to be like a master of lots of things, and like, or what's that saying, like master of none something, or
You could
something
tell
like
me
that.
anything and I would
Yeah.
agree. I'd be like, yeah, totally. That's the saying. Yeah. Whatever you say.
Master of none something else. I don't know. But basically, like I'm like kind of a Renaissance woman sort of a thing, where like I do a little bit of everything.
Fair. No, I
Yeah.
completely understand.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of cool that you can do all the things. I want to roll back to a previous statement that you said whenever you were first looking into Janome,
Mhm.
that you were like, well, and we have to talk about the correct pronunciation because you did
Oh
teach
yeah.
the correct pronunciation. So we'll talk about that in a second. But when you were looking originally at the machines and you were like, well, I kind of thought they were more mass produced and not like a
Mhm.
very I mean, they are a
Yeah,
terrific brand,
they are.
but
Yeah.
a very focused brand as well.
Mhm.
When I taught in Australia this past, I don't know, a few weeks ago or a month ago, um, I was on the Janome Continental
Mhm.
M7. Is that right?
Or probably M8.
M8, that's what it
Yeah.
was. Yes. Yeah. And I had really never been on an actual Janome before. I've been on a few,
Mhm.
like at shows, but like I'd
Yeah.
never really been on one.
Yeah.
That machine was sweet.
That is like all of our machines. I love all of our machines, but like the
Yeah.
M8 specifically is like it's a beast.
Yeah.
Like
Thing was massive.
she's a workhorse.
Oh,
Like
she thick.
she
Like
will get, yeah, she'll get you there.
she was
Like
everything. Yeah.
yeah, she is.
So that was I think that was really cool. And then but yes, can you tell all of us listening the proper pronunciation, please, as well?
So it's Janome.
Yes.
It's actually, so in Japanese it's actually Janome.
Yes.
But we're in America, so we say Janome. It's
Yes.
not Jerome. It's not. You hear like on the road, you hear so many funny like pronunciations, like, but
Yeah.
it is Janome. Yeah,
Yeah. Janome. Yeah.
yeah,
I remember I don't know, we were sitting at the show and you said that and I was like, what? One more time. One more
yeah,
time.
yeah.
It's just fun. Every time I walk by the booth now, when I walk by a Janome booth, I'm like, Janome. Anyway,
Janome.
I'm fancy.
Yeah. Oh, and
Um,
one of the fun thing about, so like Janome in Japanese means eye of the snake.
oh.
And the reason it's called eye of the snake, because so originally bobbins were more shuttles, like they were more oblong.
Uh-huh.
And the guy who invented Janome or started Janome, he actually was the one that changed the shape of bobbins from being the shuttle to a traditional bobbin to the circular shape that they are today. So, and they thought that it, like, because it has the, like outside circle and the inner circle, that it
Right.
looked like an eye of a snake. So they called it eye of the snake.
Oh, I just love learning
I
things.
know. So a fun little tidbit.
That's now every time I walk by, I'm gonna have to say "Eye of the Snake." There
I
it goes,
know.
right
Yeah.
there. So, you talk about teaching in different places, teaching at dealer events or at shows. When I was reading up about you, you've also taught multiple times internationally.
Hmm.
But one of the really cool things was you taught at Janomi's headquarters in Tokyo. Can you tell us about that experience and kind of what the overall vibe meant for you and like how cool it was to be there?
Yeah, so I was very privileged to be able to go to Janome, Tokyo this past October.
Uh huh.
And I was so flabbergasted to be invited. It was such an honor to have been chosen, because Janome has some really talented educators, and to be the one picked to represent Janome America meant a lot to me. I've always wanted to go to Japan, and especially since I started working for a Japanese company, I've been every year, like kind of like talking to my boss, I'm like, hey, I kind of like, not every year, but like every so often, if it came up, I'd be like, I'd go to Tokyo, like
She's
for
like,
the conference,
I'd love to be there. I'm just
you know,
saying, I don't know,
just
but
saying. And so when they called me like only a couple months before we went, and they're like, hey, because I had a back issue a couple years ago, and they're like, how do you think your back will handle a long flight? I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, do you think you could fly to Japan? I'm like, I think I could figure it out.
I
Like,
will find a way.
I
Trust me.
will make it work. I will do whatever I need to do. Yeah. So it was such an honor to be chosen. And I got to teach, like, I think there's about 25, 30 women extremely talented Japanese quilters. It was such an honor to be in the room with them, much less teach them. It was
Right.
very intimidating
Yeah.
because, like what am I supposed to teach these super amazing, award-winning, internationally known, famous quilters? Like, what is little old me going to do?
Right.
So it was such an honor to be able to, teach any of them anything. And I actually think I did like so I taught ruler work, and ruler work is not a big thing in Japan.
Okay.
So a lot of them hadn't done it before. So I did actually teach them a few things. So that was really like, I know, I was like, good job, me. Uh, so it was actually kind of nice, and to be able to like show them a little bit of like what is going on in the US, like
Right.
in the quilting world, and like kind of represent that. So it was a huge honor. I still can't believe that I was able to do it. I hope to be able to go back one day. So yeah, it was just such a great experience.
Just to say that's an amazing, like, kind of once in a lifetime thing,
Yeah,
to be able to do that. So that's really, really cool. I
yeah,
can only yeah, I can imagine the feeling of the kind of the intimidation.
yeah.
Like, what do you okay, we're gonna do this.
I know.
We're just gonna make it work.
Yeah,
We're gonna dive into it.
yeah.
So speaking of diving into things,
Hmm.
we had talked about earlier that you coin yourself as the Miriam of all trades,
Yeah,
basically. Well, you're
yeah.
the jack of all trades. But when I was looking at some of the stuff within like your social media and your website and stuff like that, I was reading that like kind of at the beginning you were a little hesitant on machine embroidery.
Hmm.
So kind of what changed your perspective on that, and how have you integrated it into the different quilting practices that you're doing?
Yeah, so when I was hired with Janome, obviously Janome makes embroidery machines, and we have to learn all of our machines. And I remember like when I was being trained, I was like, so do I have to learn this? Like, can I just like not do this? Like, can like I just be good at everything else but this? And they're like,
Right.
no. they're
Sorry, that
like,
doesn't work
they're
here.
like, sorry, but no. And I was like, darn it. Like, but so it basically, once I just decided like, okay, I'm going to have to figure out a way to like this. It was basically me like educating myself on the machine embroidery world. Like I had, like a lot of people, I think, was kind of misinformed that most embroidery the only embroidery that was out there was like teddy bears with balloons.
Mhm.
Like that's kind of what you're used to seeing,
Right.
like on a sweatshirt, super 80s, and like, with kittens and like super bulletproof embroidery that's like super thick and like, just
Doesn't
not,
fold or
yeah,
nothing.
yeah, like not my
Mhm.
aesthetic, like not in the modern aesthetic world, not my personal aesthetic. And I thought that's all that machine embroidery was. And so it really was me educating myself in like finding different websites, finding different designers that are doing these really amazing things with machine embroidery. Like a great example is Urban Threads.
Mhm.
They have some really cool stuff. And like, so that was the first website that I went to that's a coworker recommended. They're like, you need to check this out. Like, it's not all teddy bears and balloons. Like, and I'm like, oh, cool. This has got some fun stuff and like funny sayings and like some steampunk stuff and, like all kinds of, um, like I got like one of my first designs I ever embroidered that I purchased was like this like line drawing of a kitten with sunglasses on. That was like really cute that I embroidered on like a cardigan. It
Cute.
was really cute. Like,
Yeah.
so it's like it was really me, like just the main thing was me just like stepping outside of what I thought it was
Right.
and like opening up my eyes to a world that I had never been exposed to.
Yeah.
So it was me just like, yeah. And then a little bit, and then the other main thing that got me into it was, and how I've incorporated it a lot into my quilting, is there are some built-in designs in our machines called Shashiko designs. So they're
Mhm.
like mimicking Shashiko, like hand stitching designs. And they're basically like line drawings that are like patterns, like overall patterns. And what I started doing with that was stitching those out and then cutting them up and then piecing them into my quilts. So they add like a really nice texture, and it's kind of like making your own fabric.
Mhm.
So that was the other like aspect of me getting into machine embroidery and how I can incorporate it into like my personal aesthetic.
Uh, I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. Yeah, when we so a while back like a while. I was a little munchkin. We used to sell embroidery machines,
Mhm.
and that was kind of in those times where really the only major designs were the teddy bear with the
Yeah,
balloons or the
yeah,
ABC blocks, or
yeah,
you might get a pumpkin if you're
yeah.
lucky. Like, that was kind of those things. And so, to read up about, the things you've done with embroidery, both of my long arms that I have here, they have embroidery modules on them. And
Mhm.
so using like I use urban threads a lot,
Yeah.
using some of those different designs that aren't more traditional, they're more
Mhm.
modern, or they're more, like you said, steampunk, or they're
Yeah,
more kinda kooky or
yeah,
just random. Like, it can definitely change up the way the quilt looks, or even the shirt looks or
yeah.
anything like that, but it can also represent more of you as
Mhm.
opposed to a traditional ABC block, which is we're not
Yeah,
against the ABC
yeah,
blocks.
there's nothing wrong with a teddy bear and a balloon, like,
Right,
it's just like, if that's not your vibe, then,
right.
there is more out there for you that will fit, like, your vibe.
Yeah. So, do all the this isn't a question that I wrote down, but do all of the Janome embroidery machines come with, like, standard designs?
So they all have standard designs,
Okay,
they not all of them have the sashiko designs,
okay.
but I'd say, like, half of them do.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. That's a
yeah,
a a good handful.
yeah,
Alright, party. The more
yeah,
you know. The more you know. So diving into to more kind of how your aesthetic and your design, work has been displayed, let's talk about some of your, achievements,
mhm,
okay? So I've got here in my notes that you've received several awards, including a first place blue ribbon at Paducah.
mhm.
How have these, which of these accolades holds like is like the kind of the closest to you that you're like, ah, I can't believe I got that, like in a good way.
Yeah,
Like, kind of what was that one that stands out the most?
mhm.
And kind of how did that impact your like kind of view on what you were doing?
Yeah, so it's definitely the AQS blue ribbon from Paducah.
I figured that's the one I put down. I figured, but I just wanted to be
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, and, like, it's kind of funny, I always get emotional when I talk about it because it's a really meaningful quilt to me.
Yeah.
So I made it with my sister, my older sister, Emily, and we made it for her best friend who ended up passing from breast cancer, and we were making it for her. And so she actually, unfortunately, never got to see the quilt, but we were making it for her as, like, a healing, like, we looked a lot into color theory and just like healing processes and like energy and like basically it was an improv sunrise on the ocean, which was her favorite thing. Like she loves sunrises on the ocean, so that's what we wanted to do. And like orange is a very healing and energizing like color, and so we like, and blue is very calming, and so we did a lot of research on that, and then we made it and entered it into Paducah. It was the first time I'd ever entered really anything into a show.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like it's kind of ridiculous. Like the first time you enter a show, you should not win a blue ribbon. Like it's kind of
I
insane.
mean, unless
Like
you're Miriam Coffey. I mean, that's the way to live. Wow,
I
that's
know.
incredible.
Yeah. So like we'd never really entered in a show, a quilt into a show before, and Paducah was really the first quilt show I'd ever been to. And because I grew up in St. Louis, and Paducah's not that far away, and so like
Right.
when we had joined a guild, they're like, you should go to Paducah. So we went to Paducah, and like, I just was like gobsmacked by like the skill that these women and men have in that, or in this, that were just in the show. I'm just
Right.
like, this is insane. Like,
Right.
and I'm like, one of these days I want to have a quilt in the show. Like, I just want to like be good enough to have a quilt in the show, like much less win something. And so we made this quilt and we decided we're going to enter it. We think it's a good quilt. So we entered it into Paducah, and this was like right as I was starting with Janome, and they had already picked everybody who was going to Paducah already. So I really wanted to go, but I couldn't really afford to just go myself.
Right.
So I ended up working for Carla at Cherrywood Fabrics, and just for that show, just to like work that event, so
Yeah.
that I could get there.
Fair.
um, and so I'm like, I just need to get there. I need, like, if this may be the only time that I ever have a quilt in the show, I need to see it in person and like get
Right.
my picture with it and like point and like tell people that that's my quilt. Like, I just
Right.
need to do that. Like, and so we were setting up, and like the day of setup is also the day of the award ceremony.
Mhm.
And Carla's like, you should just go. And I'm like, why should I go? I'm not going to win. Like, and she's like, go, just go. And I'm like, okay, fine. Like, I'll go. And my category comes up and the honorable mention comes up. I'm like, maybe I'll get an honorable mention. Maybe I'll get an honorable, and like that passes. And then like third passes. And I'm like, there's no way I'm going to get second or like much less first. Like, there's no way.
Right.
And then they call my name and I like lose my shit. Like, like I start crying, like I like run to the stage, like no one I'm sure has run to the stage before, like, and I like grab the like award and I'm like crying on stage and like run off the stage and like run outside. And like I'm sure everybody thought I was like super rude because like I didn't stay for the rest of the award ceremony, but I like needed to call my sister. Like I'm like, and I like, so as soon as I got outside, I'm like, Emily, we won. And I was like screaming and she's like, I cannot understand what you're saying, man. Like,
you got to slow down,
we
buddy.
gotta simmer down. Yeah. And I'm like, we won first place. And she like, then she lost it. And then like, and so it was such a great, like, I still love and like get giddy, like thinking about it. Cause it was such a like amazing feeling, and I may never feel that again. And I'm okay with that because I did it once and it was, amazing.
Yeah.
And it was, priceless. Like, yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that you got to experience that. The feeling of winning any ribbon, it's a great feeling. But also, like you said, I think you mentioned on a good point was you had never really entered anything into the show, and you were like, you know what, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
And I talk to a lot of people, and I'm sure you do too, that are kind of on the fence and a little bit afraid to enter into a quilt show. And the worst thing you're going to get is a critique in an envelope that you can read it and say, thank you for your feedback, and then toss it. Like, that's all you can do. But
or if you don't like criticism, don't even read it.
you don't even open it. You can literally just go,
Yeah.
and be done with it. You just manifest that way.
Sure.
But it's just a really cool thing to have your quilt hanging. It's like you said, just a point. And when someone walks by, when you're taking a selfie with it, it's that automatic, did you do that? And you're like, yeah, I did.
Yeah. And like, for me, like I've never been scared to enter things. Cause like I come from like an art world where you're critiqued all the time.
That's true. Yeah.
So like, for me, like, I like criticism. Like because that's how we grow. Like, and like, so I wanted someone to be like, I want someone to say more than just, that's a pretty quilt. Like, I want someone to be like, oh, look, maybe you could do a little better in this, maybe, work on this technique or do X, Y, Z, whatever. So like that, I was excited about that. Like, so I love when I can get like real feedback from somebody who's like more than just like, that's a pretty quilt. I mean, obviously I love the, like, it's a pretty quilt, like
she's like, don't stop saying
you don't have to stop saying that.
No, keep that.
But I also enjoy like a real criticism.
And like you said, it helps us grow. It helps us refine our skills.
Yeah.
And it sometimes even pushes you out of your box to try something else that you wouldn't have like tried before. Like I remember I got one critique and it was about I think it was about Stitch in the Ditch, because I didn't do it on the quilt because one, I wasn't going to because I didn't have the time, and two, I didn't think the quilt needed it.
Yeah.
And that was like the only really critique that my quilt had, and it said that if I would have done the Stitch in the Ditch, at least on the outside, it would have framed the quilt differently. And so now, like, I'm always telling myself, do I need to frame the quilt or not? But it's just a good way to think about things. For sure. So your work has also been featured in the Modern Quilt Guild's Modern Quilt Best of the New Century. Let's talk about this recognition and how has this like impacted your overall career or your social following or anything like that?
Well, I don't have a huge social following because I don't post a lot. I'm very bad at posting.
Now, come on now.
I am. I am. Like, I don't post much at all.
I know.
Like, I just like, I'm like, it's weird. I don't know why I don't. Like, actually, during the pandemic, I did so good. Like, I posted a lot.
I was about to say your socials were on fire during that. Like, every time I opened up my phone, there you were. I was like, oh, there's my girl.
I know. Like, I was like finally working on things that I wanted to work on during the pandemic. Like, I was making garments and I was like prioritizing like what I wanted to do. Obviously I was still working too,
Right.
but like I was able to like spend the extra time that I wasn't doing otherworldly things, like with just working on what I wanted to work on. And like I got a bunch of dresses done and got a bunch of things that I'd wanted to get done. And it was just great. Like, so then I was like, and that was kind of like one of my goals. I'm like, I'm going to post a bunch of stuff. Like, and so then like, it's also one of the reasons why I don't always post is like, a lot of the stuff I make is for work and I can't always post that.
True.
And then by the time I can post it, I can forget about it. Cause I, like I've done it a while. And like, once they've released it, then it's like, I'm past that. I'm like, let's go on to the next.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
But
makes sense.
I should be better at it. Like,
It's okay. You've got 80,000 other things going
I
on.
know. Yeah.
I mean, and you
Don't
also
we
do
all?
you do a child. Don't get me started.
I know you
But
do.
you also do, like, a lot for, like, Janome's for their social
Yeah.
platforms.
Yeah.
So, like, I kinda feel that way for myself here at Linda's. Like, I do so much for the Linda's platform
Hmm.
that I'm like, "Well, I'm already splashed all over that." Like, I don't
Yeah.
do I really have to
And
post on
like, do I
my
have to?
own thing?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll both hold each other accountable.
Okay.
We'll have a quarterly sync, and we're
Okay.
gonna make sure we're posting something.
Okay.
Okay, that's good.
All right. I'll try
Um,
it.
but what piece of or what quilt or what work was featured in the Modern Quilt Guild?
It was the same quilt. It was the
Oh,
Fratenia quilt. Yeah.
okay, okay,
Yeah. That's the quilt that like has traveled the world. It's been like, it's won the most awards.
yeah,
It's like, that's like the most that that's my most well-known quilt.
yeah.
The best quilt like that I've ever done at this point. Hopefully I'll do something better at some point. Um, I just need the time to do it.
Don't we all?
I know, like, it's like I get, it's not that I don't get to sew because I get to sew, which is great.
Right,
It's just that I don't get to always sew for like myself, and like I don't have chunks of time to dedicate to like a important quilt. Like I'll have like pockets of time that I can be like, okay, I have this baby quilt I have to make for someone, or a
right,
wedding quilt, or whatever, that I can just like whip out and do something like
right.
somewhat easy. But like I don't have that like retirement time that's like
No,
that
it's
can just like,
completely understandable that you're able to
yeah,
knock out that stuff at that point. And then
yeah.
I also feel, and I don't know, you tell me your experience with this. When because I quilt and sew so much for work,
Hmm.
when I get the time to quilt and sew for myself, I'm like, that couch looks real good right about now.
Yeah. No, I am the same way. Like I've actually, one of the things that I've sort of done to like boost my creativity and kind of because that's the much when you run into when your
Hmm.
hobby is your job and your job is your hobby,
Hmm.
um, is that like you can get burnt out on it.
Yep.
So I've been pushing myself to do other creative outlets.
Hmm.
So I actually have been painting more.
Ooh,
Like, yeah, I've never been a big painter. It's never been my strong suit. I'm decent at it, but I'm not, you know, an amazing painter. But like I actually there's this really amazing painter in Waynesville. And she's one of my favorite painters. And I love the way she paints animals. And she does like yearly workshops. And so these last couple of years, I've actually been taking painting workshops from her. And like the first time I took the workshop, like I hadn't painted in 19 years. Like it had been a
wow.
minute. Yeah.
Okay.
Like maybe like 17 or 18, something like that. And so like I had to like get all new paints and like go through all my supplies and spend a whole lot of money on stuff that like, but now I take her class every year, and like it's like a week long, and I use that as like a way of rejuvenating my creative juices. And like and I've also taken like jewelry making classes and other things that are not sewing,
Right.
or not even fiber necessarily,
Yeah.
like that are like still creative and still using my hands and still using my creativity, but just is outside of this world. Like, because you can just get overwhelmed with it. Like, and then it's not fun anymore. And the whole reason we're doing this is because we love it.
Right.
Like, and I think that's also why, like, I don't actually follow a lot of people like on Instagram or TikTok or like a lot of other quilters, because I try to, one, I feel like when you oversaturate yourself with the same images, everyone's work starts looking the same.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to kind of distance myself from that so that I don't start making the same things as everyone else unintentionally, like not on
Right,
purpose or
right.
anything
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's just like when you start seeing like a red apple, red apple, red apple, you just start like, oh, now I'm going to make a red apple, like,
Right.
like,
It's
or
just kind of the
whatever.
natural thing that's popped in your
Yeah.
brain.
That's in your, it's just living there.
Right.
So I think that's kind of why, like, I kind of live in my own little world. Like, and part of probably why I don't post much, because like I just kind of I do my thing, and like I try to keep balance between work and my own enjoyment for my own sewing,
Right.
and it can be hard, like, for sure.
I was
And
about to say, if you could just write me a quick one pager on how to do that, I would love to read it and peer review it for you, because I have a really hard time separating like work from not work, because I feel like
Mhm.
my whole life is
Yeah,
work, is my
yeah,
job, is my company,
yeah.
which tends to be that way when you run an empire.
Mhm.
But it's like at the same time, it's like, yeah, but I still want just a little bit of
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Yeah. And like, even like for me, I know, like, I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna, like, I dedicate this time. I'm like, I'm gonna sew something for myself. And I somehow like end up making it into work. Like,
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, I could do this, and then it could be a work project.
Right.
Like, and then so, but I do highly recommend like picking up a new hobby, like
Yeah.
picking up like, whatever your painting is for you, like chainmail making. I don't know,
Yeah.
like
Something.
something. Like, I think it's just something that's creative, but is a little outside of our world, um, that can spark joy, that like will, rejuvenate your love for what you do, because it's so important to keep the joy.
Yeah.
Like, otherwise, like, it's not like we're in this for the money. Like,
No. We are in this for the joy, and to give back to our students,
yeah.
and to give back to those that we're teaching. And I know that we've mentioned this a little bit earlier. You've talked a lot about teaching over the world. We talked about you going to Tokyo. What do you enjoy most about teaching quilting and those embroidery techniques, and teaching on the Janome? Like, what's your favorite thing about it?
So I really I do love teaching. And I think what I love about it the most is inspiring people to do something that they don't think that they can do.
Hmm.
Um, because creativity is not necessarily something that's encouraged a lot in most children
Hmm.
or people in general, because, like we said, like, creative world isn't normally known for their financial gains that you
Right.
get.
Right.
So a lot of people like stifle that side of them and don't think that, like, or it was discouraged from their family or their
Right.
teachers. So they've kind of shut that side of them down. And I believe everybody has that side of them. And they just needs to be nurtured. So I think just like nurturing that creative side, or um, just encouraging them to think outside the box, because like you can do the same thing and look at it like a slightly different way and get something completely different.
Yeah.
Um, and that's what I think I love about just teaching, is like showing them a new way of looking at a square, like, or whatever.
Right.
Like, it's like you've seen the same thing your whole life, like, or your whole quilting life. Like, how can I look at it in a slightly different way? Um, or use a different technique, or do something else different in the square, and then like put embroidery in it, or make your own fabric, or do surface design, dye your own fabric, like whatever it is, um, and just kind of look at it from a different angle,
Yeah.
which is, I think, it's always been one of my strong suits, is thinking outside of the box, because I'm dyslexic. So like I've had to think outside the box my whole life,
Right.
because the box, I was never in the box. Like, like the box is not a friendly place for
The
me.
box was over there.
The box is over there. So like thinking outside the box has been my only way.
Right.
So like, I think that's always, and my creativity has always been encouraged throughout my life.
Yeah.
Not always through my teachers.
Mm.
Definitely not my teachers.
Yeah.
Definitely not a lot of them. My high school, college or counselor told me I was throwing my life away for going to art school. Like,
Mm. And now you want an episode of the Crafters Roundtable with Lori
Yeah.
Pearson. Take
Yeah.
that, high school counselor.
I know. Yeah.
I love the fact that you've always been outside the box.
Yeah.
That's why we see each other. We're very that. Um, Another thing that I want to talk to you about, and I know you no longer do it, but I think it's a good thing to kind of chat about for people that are looking at
Mhm.
getting into their own long arm quilting
Yeah.
business. Let's talk about the Coffee Quilt Lab and the services that
Mhm.
you offered. Kind of what was your initial inspiration that got you to establish that, and what were some of those services that you were offering for individuals at the time?
Yeah, so, my sister and I opened the business, I guess, like, 11 or 12 years ago,
Hmm.
and we just like most places in the world, there's not enough long armors, and in our area, there wasn't enough long armors, like, there was one long armor and she was always backed up, and so we're like, I was traveling a lot at the time, and I was trying to figure out a way to, like, not travel as much, so I
Hmm.
was like, "Let's," like, there's a need um, in this community. So let's fill this need. And part of what we offered was like we did matched. I love matchstick quilting as like a modern quilter,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is basically like straight parallel lines that are close together. Um,
You
and
offered that as a
we
service?
did, yeah.
Oh,
We didn't do
girl.
many of them, but like we did offer it because like not many people did. Like,
No. Yeah, no one I know does it.
yeah, because it's a giant pain. Like
But it's so
it's
cool.
so pretty.
Oh, it's so
Like
good. It's so good.
I still love it, like, I still use it, like, it just adds such a great texture and dimension to your quilt, like,
Yep.
I think it adds so much to it without taking away from the piecing,
Right.
which is something because, like, for me, actually, like, piecing's my favorite part of it. The quilting is a little bit of a means to an end, like, not quite that extreme, but, like, a little bit,
Right.
so, like, the matchstick for me, like, really, like, adds so much without distracting from the piecing itself. Like, so it just like it flattens it so nicely and
It just
it's
looks so good.
it does. Yeah. Yeah. So like it was basic. We mostly did edge to edge and like matchstick quilting.
Okay.
We didn't really do a lot of custom because like most people weren't really wanting custom and we were still newer at it. We didn't want to offer something that we weren't comfortable with.
Right. Right.
Or like I think eventually we were probably going to get to that, but we like, most people want edge to edge and like most quilts are fine with edge to edge.
Mhm.
So, obviously there's exceptions. But yeah, so it was basically, we did edge to edge. We found a hole in the market and we were like, let's fill it. And that's kind of why we decided to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wanted to not travel as much. So
Well, fair. Well, then you got into, all the other things that you're doing now, and now you're back
yeah,
out doing all the
now, yeah,
traveling
I'm
again. It's
like,
a full circle moment.
yeah, I know. Now I'm back on the road all the time. Like,
So what was like one of the like if someone was looking at starting their own long arm quilting business, like what's the one key piece of advice that you would give somebody?
so I think for me, what I wish someone had told me. So when we bought our long arm, we bought, you buy your frame, you have your machine, and we ended up buying the computerized as well. Like we
Mhm.
bought all of it at once, which I think is like it's good to do it all at once because you can finance it better. It's easier. Like, but the one thing that I wish someone had told me was learn the machine first and
Mhm.
don't even touch the computer.
Mhm.
Like, because you need to learn how to balance your tension. You need to learn to load your quilt. You need to be able to troubleshoot when you have issues.
Right.
And when you add in the element of computerized, you're now like, is it me? Is it the machine? Is it the computer? What is it? Like
Right.
you're taking away one of those elements.
Right.
So now, like once you feel comfortable with your machine, then introduce your computer. Like I get you're paying for it and you want to use it. Like I fully like understand that urge.
Mhm.
But as someone who like had a lot of issues right off the bat, with my machine. Um, I wish someone had told that to me. Like, so that is something that I always tell some, like when I sell long arms, like I always like, if you're going to get them both, like I recommend getting them both because I love computerized quilting, but just don't play with it until you feel comfortable with your machine.
Right.
Like,
Get a good feeling of what what this first piece of machinery can do
Yes.
for you.
Yeah.
And as you're learning with, like I said, or like you said, a big thing, balancing the tension, loading the frame,
Mhm.
choosing threads, putting the needle in the right way.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, we got that
Yeah.
one. Winding up a proper bobbin.
Yep.
There's
Yeah.
so many different factors that go into it. And then,
Mhm.
like you said, when you hit that go button on the computer and things start messing up, okay, what is the issue? Because then you got to
Yeah.
call into somebody, and then you got
Yep.
to diagnose. It's a whole ordeal.
Yeah.
Which doesn't happen very often, but it's those things that you kind of want to be prepared for and
Yeah.
ready for.
Yeah, you wanna be able to get rid of the user error part
Right.
of it.
Right.
Like, there's and once you can kind of eliminate that, it's then you're off to a better start. Like, you're gonna be
Exactly.
more successful, you're gonna be happier, you're gonna, like, enjoy it more,
Yep.
and, like, you're not gonna be frustrated, and, like, there's still gonna be a little frustration because, like, a learning curve is still a learning curve.
Oh, no question. Yeah.
But there's gonna be, like, several elements that are gonna be eliminated from that, that allow you to be more successful and enjoy the process.
Yeah, I'd rather be frustrated with learning and some people might be different, that's okay. I'd rather
Mhm.
be more frustrated learning the computerized software than having to rip out stitches because I
Yes,
didn't learn the tension properly.
correct.
Like, I'd rather I can click undo on the computer, and that's very fast. It's very hard
Yep,
to undo stitching,
yep. Yes.
as we all know. I wish it came out as fast as it
Oh
went
my
in.
gosh,
That's
no
just not
joke.
it's not happening.
Nope.
But on a more positive note, okay, I wanna talk about some tools and techniques.
Mhm.
Okay. So what are and you can't say all of them. Okay, that's your first caveat to the you can't say all of them. What are some of your favorite Janome machines and accessories that you would recommend for quilters that are looking to expand their skills?
So, we'd already mentioned the M8. The
Hmm.
M8 is a fantastic machine. It's great for a variety of different people, quilters, garment makers, bag makers, general sewists. Like, it's a super heavy duty machine, but also really smooth at the same time. So I love that machine particularly. I also love our AccuFeed system. Um, yeah, and our AccuFeed system is like a more advanced walking foot.
Okay.
And what I like about them so much is, well, it feeds lovely, but it also the bases of them come off. So you can put different attachments on. So you can do like a stitch in the ditch, you can do a 1/4 inch, you can do an open toe, you can do a straight stitch, and then they have even ones for attaching zippers. Like, so you can, and all of them can be used for a variety of different things, not just what they're used for. So like the zipper, you can attach zippers with it, but you can also attach piping or pom-poms or anything that you need to get your needle really up close next to something.
Wow.
So like it's like just that one foot can do like 8 different things. So like I love feet in general, accessories, but I
Yeah.
love the AccuFeed system because they're just so versatile. And I've done lots of videos on them on Facebook and on YouTube and stuff too. Like I go into them more in depthly. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. I'll have to take a look at that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I like that you have all those, especially for for stitch in the ditch and for
Yeah.
binding, 1/4 inch, all that kind of stuff. That
Oh
makes it,
yeah.
I'm sure, really easy.
Mhm.
I'll have to go check out your videos. I'll definitely will do
Mhm.
that. Okay, what is a technique or tool in the quilting industry? You don't even have to limit it into Janome. You can do the whole quilting industry
Mhm.
that you think is underutilized but highly effective in quilting.
So I actually think, so we're not the only brand that has this, but our
Mhm.
quilt binder attachments. Um, they are they're so cool.
Okay.
But basically, so what they are is they're like a big piece of equipment. So they're an attachment and not a foot.
Okay.
So it's basically it folds your fabric and sews it down at the same time. Yeah.
Ooh.
So like I can bind like a king size quilt in like 45 minutes. Like
Stop lying to me right now.
I'm not. I've timed it. Like,
Uh,
now that doesn't include, like,
all the prep work.
fabric prep work,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
just the actual sewing. Um, and, like, so it does give you a little bit thicker binding, like,
Mhm.
it doesn't give you that 1/4 inch binding,
Right.
it gives you about, like, a 1/2 inch binding.
Mm.
So it's not perfect for every quilt,
Right.
like, so it's not a quilt like, it's not what I would use for show quilt. It's
Oh,
not
yeah,
what I
no.
use for a wall hanging.
Right.
But, like, for baby quilts, for throw quilts, for, like, dog quilts, for charity quilts,
I was gonna say, if
for
you're cranking out charity quilts, that's
yeah,
the way to do it. Just
it is great. Like,
yeah.
And again, I've done some really good videos on it that are on YouTube and Facebook that explain it. Other people have done videos as well that are really great. So it's you're not like you have to watch mine. There's other people that have done it. I know like other companies also. So if you don't have a Janome, I know Bernina has one. I think Baby Lock has one, and Brother, I'm not 100% sure, but I know Bernina has one.
Okay.
They are more expensive, and I think that's why a lot of people are intimidated by them because of the price, especially
Right.
because Janomes are like our accessories are known for being really affordable.
Yeah.
And this attachment is like $250. So it is like on the pricier side, but if you
But
do a lot of it, like it's so worth the money.
I
Like
was gonna say,
honestly,
if I mean, 250, yes, that is on the pricier
it
side.
is. But
However, when
mhm,
we calculate the amount of time that I would be spending
yep,
on binding my charity quilts, my Quilts of Valor quilts, my Project Linus
yes,
quilts,
yes,
compared to the time I'd be saving,
yes.
that's gonna blow that 250 out of the water like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like it is, and there is a little bit of a learning curve. Like, so it
Mhm.
is something that you're going to have to like, it's not something that's like a magic bullet, but when in life is there a magic bullet? Like
Right.
anything worth doing well, is going to take time.
Yeah.
Like the first time you bound your quilt, like it wasn't perfect. So the first
Mm-mm.
time you use it on a quilt binder attachment, it's not going to be perfect either.
Right.
But and the only difficult part about it is doing the corners. But like there's tips and tricks to do that better. So it's not like it's not possible. It's totally possible. Like you just sort of pin it in place and then like you take it out and pull it back in and like
You do what
it's
you gotta do.
you do what you got to do. Like
Yeah.
but like you have to manually miter your corners anyway. So it's kind of the same thing. It's
Right.
not like you don't do that when you're binding your quilt normally. So
Right.
like it's definitely not like it's not going to be for every quilt, but it is for a lot of quilts. And like that is one thing that I wish more people would use because it just saves so much time. Like,
Cool.
yeah.
Well, when I look into I don't know what my next show that I'm going H&H. When I go to H&H, I will swing by and I need to look at wait, are you going to H&H?
I am, yeah.
Oh, snap. All right, it's happening. All right. Well, you're gonna have to show me the foot thingy and all the things when we're there so we can take a look at
Yeah.
it.
Sounds good.
Now you've been mentioning videos and
Mhm.
different places where people can find you. It is now the time in the episode where you do your all your social drops, all the things. Tell people where they can learn more about you, about Janome, and all the good things.
Yeah, so you can learn more about me personally on my like Instagram page. It's Coffey Quilt Lab, and that's with an EY, so that's Coffey Quilt Lab. And it was actually called Quilt Lab because my sister's a scientist. So
Oh,
yeah,
cute.
she's like a Oxford like PhD
Oh,
like
okay. No,
scientist. Like
we play with fabric.
yeah, like she's saving plants, and I like play with pretty fabric.
It's we all do our things
We
to
all do
keep
our
things
things. Yeah,
moving.
I make the world pretty and she saves it.
Exactly.
So, yeah, so like that's actually how we got the name was like because she's a actual scientist. Yeah, Coffey Quilt Lab. And then for just any of my Janome stuff is on Janome Facebook page, which is Janome Sewing Machines, as well as our Facebook. Sorry, as well as our YouTube. It's Janome Sewing Machines on YouTube, and you could just type in my name, and a bunch of videos will come up.
Cool. And then if I'm not mistaken, there is a spot on the Janome Sewing Machines America website where they're
Mhm.
like there's like an educator section and they can like
Yeah,
click on like your profile, learn more
yeah,
about you, and there's like videos
yeah.
with you and stuff
I
like
think
that in it
so.
as well.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
pretty
It's
sure
been
there is.
yeah. Like we recently redid our website, so I haven't checked it out since the revamp of it.
Okay.
But there had been. Yeah,
Okay. All right. I'll see
yeah.
what I can find. I'll put all those in the links in the description below so everyone can easily click off and go learn more about you.
Oh no.
The last thing that I have for you, are there any because I'm a very nosy person, as you could tell by my questionnaire that I sent, very nosy. Are there any upcoming projects or workshops or collabs that are in the works for you that you could give us a sneak peek about that you're excited that you're looking forward to?
I guess the next thing that I'm excited about is teaching at H&H.
Okay.
So I'll be teaching a couple classes. So I mean, we're doing like a little lecture one, and then we're doing a class. So I'm excited about that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Are you in Project Academy or Learning Lab?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
I should know that, but I don't.
that is my new. I'm getting Nick to edit out the snippet of that. Oh, I don't know. That's gonna be my new text message tone. Anyone text? Oh, I don't know. That
Oh,
was
no.
the best soundbite I could have ever asked for in my life. So thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
Well, Miriam, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I really, really appreciate it, and I can't wait to see you at H&H.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm very excited. We'll have to do dinner.
Sounds good.
Okay.
See ya.
Bye, guys.
Alrighty, everyone. That was our incredible episode with Miriam Coffey. If you would like to learn more about her, of course, you can hop over to the Janome website. I will have things linked in the description below, so you can hop off to learn more about what she's doing with all those incredible different feet and the different sewing machines, her classes, and all of that fun stuff. Make sure you're following us here at Linda's on Instagram and on Facebook. So whenever we're posting at our different events, maybe you'll catch Miriam in the background or with me in a selfie as we show off different things. Thank you so much for listening or watching here at Crafters Roundtable, and I'll see you next time. Bye.